Hello, Taurus. Hello, happy October to you, Taurus. This is Capricorntigress, Adrian Igo of Astrology, a look inside, coming to you with your astrology reading for the month of October. Happy Halloween season to everyone. I'm wearing my dark hair, my dark look for the month of October, because I have Venus in Scorpio and Pluto in the first house. So let's go ahead and talk about the month that's coming up for Taurus. You know, it's going to start out a little bit weird, I'll just say, because the first of the month, the moon is going to be in Gemini. That's your second house. It starts out there. But, you know, since you're Taurus, I mean, Uranus is now at 1 degree of Taurus, 0 to 1 degrees, or 1 degree to 0 degrees of Taurus in your solar first house. So you guys have been feeling a little bit of different now for a couple of weeks, months now. Changes are afoot for you guys, and it's kind of weird when I look at all the emphasis going on in the chart. It's almost like if this was a natal chart, I don't know if you guys can see it, it would be like a handle. It's really hard to explain it, but if you know what a handle is, Uranus is right over here and everything else is over there. So yeah, it's really kind of the handle for you guys, and it's in your house of personality. So I can see a lot of really weird changes happening. You guys are changing up. Your whole personality is changing. And a lot of that change is because of that Uranus, but it's because of the aspects that Uranus is going to be making, I think, in general. For example, you know, Uranus and Saturn have been within striking distance of each other for months now, you know, as far as a trine goes. And they're finally starting to pull away from each other. But I'm sure you guys have felt that. And that was really something. Also, for a while, Uranus was, you know, square that transiting Mars, which is up in your 10th house in the sign of Aquarius. Now, in October, that Mars in Aquarius is finally going to start making some headway, kind of moves from 5 degrees to 21 degrees of Aquarius during the month of October. And you guys actually have Lilith well, Lilith is in Aquarius, but that's also your solar 10th house. And so, you know, with Mars and Lilith up in the 10th house there, I just want you guys to be aware that Aquarius is there, and that things could be a little different, you know, and something I just hope nothing violent happens. I don't know why I thought that suddenly. Like, let's hope nothing violent occurs with Mars sitting up in the 10th house like that, Uranus in the first house. Lord have mercy. And, you know, the thing is, there's going to be a lot of emphasis in your 6th house and your 7th house. The 6th house is career or work, and the 10th house is career. So I can see some of the things happening in your work could create some issues with your career. And speaking of work, the things that are there, or what we'll be dealing with mostly, is you know, Libra planets. These Libra planets are falling in your solar 6th house. And we start off the month with like Mercury. It's going to be in Libra. It's going to be in Libra. We've got the Sun in Libra. And then over the course of the month, Venus is going to retrograde back from Scorpio into Libra. So you'll also be experiencing that. But this Mercury is going to go from Libra all the way up to Sagittarius, which is in your solar 8th house. So this, whatever is happening in the 6th house, it could eventually, like your mouth, I don't know what it is. It could be that you're in sales, and something that you've done, you know, with Mercury or verbally, creates something where maybe it results in people giving you money at the end of it. That would be awesome. And especially with that Mars up in the 10th house of your career. means that you could maybe do something that gets the attention of superiors, hopefully in a positive light and not in a negative light. And that's because Aquarius is trine these Libra planets in the month of October, at least in the up until the 23rd when the sun enters Scorpio. So I would take advantage of those trine planets. I mean, you're going to be dealing with like Mercury and the sun, very positive, and they're going to be trining that Mars up in the 10th house, giving you the impetus to really push forward in your career. I could see that happening. Lilith, if she doesn't do something to get you into trouble, could also indicate some, you using some ingenuity to get ahead in your career. Now, there is some emphasis for you in the month in the sign of Pisces. Well, and just because that's in your 11th house, I wanted to mention that. And Neptune is in Pisces in your 11th house. It's retrograding. And Chiron also enters into the sign of Pisces in a retrograde motion. So it's at 29 degrees of Chiron in the sign of Pisces. And this is an area that falls in your 11th house of friends and hopes and dreams and wishes and organizations. And I always say this is now the house of like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. So just be aware that with Neptune there and Chiron there, it could be some hurts or pains or something that occurs there. It's something that kind of catches you off guard because it's Neptune. So be aware that that is a possibility. Also, you have Saturn and Pluto in your solar 9th house, and this has been of emphasis now for a little while. The good thing, though, is now Saturn and Pluto are both direct, which is great. So you might have been feeling in that area, like with travel and with education or foreign affairs, international things, that things have been going really slow and not moving forward, and you haven't been making progress. And you've been feeling this way for months. Well, you could finally, that feeling is finally going to start to lift, because these planets are no longer in the retrograde motion, and so progress is finally possible in the area of travel and international affairs and diplomacy. If you're looking to travel out of the country, this it's starting to look a little bit better, especially if it's for work. Now, with Saturn in the 9th house, I would still think it's going to be limited, but at least it's in a forward motion, and that's very good. The sun eventually is going to move into Scorpio, so that emphasis that starts out in the beginning of the month, that's all in that solar 6th house, which is the work life, as I mentioned, is all going to start moving into that solar into the 7th house. And so you're going to be really feeling issues with your partner and your partnership. And it should be positive, though, because although Venus is going to be retrograding from Scorpio into Libra, going into Libra is all, it was in Libra, and it's going to go back into that. Whatever issues your relationship might have, this retrograde, I think, is going to give it an opportunity, hopefully, to fix it and work it out, because I think it's going to bring back some pleasantness. If things are starting to get a little unpleasant, then this should help to make things a little bit more pleasant. And this is also indicated, the pleasantry, because Jupiter is in Scorpio. Jupiter's in your solar 7th house. No matter what happens, I mean, there's should be good times and luck and stuff in the area of partnerships for you, at least until after November. And I would take advantage of that. And the sun is there, and Venus is there, and Mercury's going to go through of Scorpio as well. So you should really get a boost to your relationships and partnerships in the month of October. So I'm going to go through really quick with the astrological events. I'll just do that bam, 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 knock them out, and just let you know how that will affect you, and if it will affect your chart. I better keep your chart in front of me so I can see where these things are falling. Anyway, as of the 2nd of October, the sun is square the moon. That's on the 2nd. You might experience a little bit of minor stress when the sun is square the moon. That's very common, very normal. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the month, You know, the moon is down in that Gemini area, so you might experience that. On October 3rd, Mercury squares Pluto, and that just, you know, that's some strong opinions. Mercury, mouth, Pluto, obsessive, opinion strong. And Pluto is in your 9th house, because so I can see that being in areas of like just the things that you believe in and your dogma, even religion, just your philosophy, your opinions about life. It really affects you that day, so please be aware of that. Venus retrogrades on the 5th of October. That happens at about 3 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock, 6:05 Pacific Standard Time. Happens at 10 degrees and 50 seconds of Scorpio. It's in a retrograde motion. And it just means that there's possible love troubles. I mean, everyone, not just you, but everyone can experience possible love troubles during a Venus retrograde. It's really just not a great time for relationships. And this is really going to be doubly so for you, since, you know, it's happening in Scorpio, which is your solar 7th house of relationships. Talk about retrograding in your relationships. I would, you know, keep an eye on the relationship if I were you, because of this retrograde. And I would keep an eye on it until the 6th of November, at least, because that's when things start to loosen up a little. October 7th, there is an inconjunct between Saturn and the North Node, or True Node, and that is Saturn at 3 degrees of Capricorn and Leo at retrograding at 3 degrees of Leo. And that indicates creativity. Now for you, that Leo is in your 4th house, and that Capricorn is going to be in your solar 8th house. So that is used, you know, that's privacy issues, to me it sounds like. But it also could indicate some creativity, I think, with the money. Maybe someone who works from home might get a boost that day. On October 8th, the new moon in Libra occurs at 15 degrees and 48 seconds of Libra. And that happens at 11:47 Eastern Standard Time, 1:47 Pacific Standard Time. And it is a time to balance your life, a time to balance your relationship, a time to center yourself and to work on your relationships and to get back in touch with your partner and, you know, just be more emotional and attentive and in tune with what's going on in your relationship, because sometimes we forget about our partner and what they're going through. This would be a good time to fix it. On the 9th, Mercury enters Scorpio, and that is going to be a time for deep conversations. You'll have 3 weeks when Mercury is in Scorpio to really dig down deep into your relationships and have those deep conversations. And even if you're not talking about the relationship in particular, I just feel like the conversations are going to be deeper and maybe heavier than normal. On the 10th of October, Mars enters, or Mars squares Venus. And that Mars square Venus, because Venus is retrograding from Scorpio into Libra, that Mars square Venus could cause some relationship problems. Just be aware that the issues could crop up. You know, it's a lot of emphasis in your 7th house this month. And so I can see there being some relationship issues. If you even remotely suspect any problems with your relationship, I really believe it's all going to come out in the fore this month. Like if there's any problems, they'll come out. If the problems are imaginary, or if they can be fixed, they will be fixed, because the emphasis is here so that you can fix them. And I believe that. These are some very beneficial planets, the Sun and Jupiter in your 7th house, and Venus in your 7th house, and Mercury going through your 7th house. All very, very positive, I believe, overall. On October 12th, the Sun in Libra will square Pluto in Capricorn. And that Pluto and Capricorn is in your, ninth house, your solar ninth house. And this indicates power struggles with authority figures anyway, but it really will kind of play out in your ninth house. So, if you are doing anything that has to do with international things, I would avoid it that day, because it could be a power struggle that day when it comes to that issue. And I don't know if you really want to deal with that. And Libra is actually down in your sixth house, so that's your health and also the work that you do. So I could see that could possibly be an issue there. So watch your health, watch your work that day, and dealing with, power figures, authority figures that day. On the 15th of October, Mercury is in Scorpio, is conjunct Venus in Scorpio. And again, there's more of that digging deep. I mean, talking about deep subjects, digging deep into a relationship, into the love. Do you love me? How much do you love me? Would you do this for me? How deep is your love? How deep is your love? I don't know why that came to me. Yeah, that's what you guys are going to be going through. You're going to get to the heart of the issue, whatever it is. And this would be the time to do it. On October 19th, Mercury trines Neptune, and there's a square to Mars. So Mercury trine Neptune squares Mars. And that is not good. That Neptune is in Pisces anyway. And, you've got the Mercury down in Scorpio, but with Mars being in Aquarius, that's up in your 10th house. So I'm just wondering, what is happening with your 10th house? That's something happening with your work and the people that you, maybe friends or associates. I would be careful if someone, maybe friends, associates with Lilith there, that's jealousy up in your 10th house. Just be cautious of all that kind of deep espionage-like stuff. Anyway, October 23rd, the sun enters Scorpio. And that is even more emphasis on secretive things. Secrets and healing and closure and things. Maybe even your relationships, and that's your solar 7th house. But your feelings and your emotions. I mean, Scorpio is a very deeply emotional sign. It's a water sign. And so, yeah, 7th house, more of the relationship things. I mean, this could be a business partnership, but it definitely indicates relationships or partnerships of some kind. It could be an enemy. Like I said, don't forget that Lilith is up in your 10th house. So someone could be on you about that. But just be aware of this. It's kind of, yeah. Now, on the 24th, there is going to be a full moon up in Taurus. Now, this is your first house. So the full moon is going to be in your first house. And that's going to be opposing that sun that just went into your 7th house. Again, as if it wasn't enough before. The emphasis is on you and your partner. Partnership, you. Partnership, you. You may be feeling really emotional that day. I don't know if your partner is going to go crazy off the deep end. You're going to find out they're cheating, or they're going to think you're cheating. I hope you didn't get drunk and cheat. I'm thinking of all the possible scenarios of that Scorpio sun and that full moon in Taurus in the first house. Lord have mercy. This would not be the time to do any underhanded, dirty, sneaky, cheaty things, because your partner will find out and they will retaliate. Okay? Okay. Now, on the 26th, the sun in Scorpio conjuncts Venus in Scorpio. Again, we are dealing with some serious intensity here. This is intense relationships for you. Intensity in your relationships. It could be you're dissatisfied with your relationship. I don't know. I don't know what it is about your relationship you're upset about, but maybe you are. Maybe you're dissatisfied. And maybe that's what that full moon in the first house indicates. You got emotional about something. You got your feelings in your panties in a bunch about, I don't know. I mean, if you love your partner, I mean, if you made a commitment to them, follow through with your commitment, honey. Saturn is in Capricorn, and it is going to be trining that full moon because it's only in 3 degrees. And it's going to be sextiling that sun in Scorpio because that's only going to be like in 1 degree or so. This is an opportunity to fix things. I'm hoping that it's going to be an opportunity to fix things when it comes to, maybe traveling to see each other. Maybe that's been blocked. Maybe you'll be able to fix that in some way so that you can actually spend time working on transforming your relationship into the relationship you really want it to be. So I'm hoping you do fix that. On the 29th, there is going to be a Scorpio. The sun in Scorpio is going to trine that moon in Cancer. And that is emotion again. I mean, we're talking emotion now because Cancer rules your solar 3rd house of communication. So you're going to be talking emotion. In my mind, when I just saw this, I saw 2 people crying over their communicating over their relationship. Why? I don't know. But that sun in Scorpio, your 7th house, and the moon is going to be in Cancer in your 3rd house. This is the 29th, and what no longer serves you can end. I don't know if you want to end your relationship. But if you do, this would be the day. That would be the day to do it, the 29th of October. On the 30th of October, Mercury enters Sagittarius. Now, that's a good thing in a way, but, because it pulls that emphasis out of the 7th house. But now we're dealing with issues of the 8th house. And so we're dealing with things like money. Whose money is it? Maybe even if you just broke up yesterday, separating the stuff. Who gets the stuff, right? Separate. This is mine. No, that's mine. I can see that being a problem. But usually anything with Sagittarius means you might end as friends at the end of it all, I hope. So also Mercury in Sagittarius indicates big ideas. Like you can have some really big ideas, I think, that can lead to money. Because Sagittarius is your solar 9th house, solar 8th house of money. And, with it being at the early degrees of Sag like that in that house, that is going to, it's a little wide though, I think, for Mars, but it's going to be a pretty unique spot for it to be, I think. So I would take advantage of that, because you can have some really great ideas that could lead to other people giving you money. Mercury's going to be in your 8th house. So I would definitely go over details in any kind of thing that could lead to you getting money. On the 31st, Venus leaves Scorpio. It's retrograding, right? So it's leaving Scorpio and it goes into Libra. And when it does, love becomes just a little bit easier, not as intense. Goes back into Libra. Maybe we can fix some of the things that went wrong over the last couple of weeks. And because the thing is, we still are going to have to face this when it all goes direct again in the middle of November. But it's a brief reprieve, okay? And this is all happening, between your solar 7th house and solar 6th house. So this is all your relationships and how it affects you, and maybe even how it affects your health. And on the 31st, again, another thing about Libra is that it's going to be opposing Uranus. That Uranus that's over there in the, early degrees of Taurus. Like, 1 degree of Taurus, 0 degree of Taurus. That's your sign. So it may feel like love is a little rough in the month of October, but I think you can fix things, and I think you'll be able to work things out. If love is there, then take this time to heal. Maybe that's why it went back into that solar 6th house, because the 6th house rules healing, and Libra is there. I would heal your relationship this month, and I think good things can happen. And hopefully by the time things go direct around the 6th to the 15th, it'll all be taken care of and healed, and it'll all be going positive and be much more upbeat than it feels at that moment. Anyway, this has been your reading. This is all I got for you for the month of October. And I hope that resonated for someone out there. I don't know why I was led to say some of the things I did. I hope that this information helps someone out there that needed to hear that. Again, this has been Capricorntigress, Adrian Igo of Astrology, A Look Inside. And if you haven't, stop by and visit me at astrologyalookinside.com and subscribe to stay in the know and updated with our information. Thanks once again for listening. Much love and much light to you all.